Lake State Park has long been called the birthplace of American paleontology. The name itself comes from the discovery of big fossil bones and the attraction of the Salt Lick. Although the park was not established until July 2, 1960, the history dates back over 10,000 years to the Pleistocene era, the last great ice age.
Big Bone Lick in particular is famous for the mastodon remains, American mastodon remains that are prominent at the park that have been found in abundance over the years. The mastodon is a elephant-like mammal. Here is a molar tooth from a mastodon, and it's similar to the elephant, but in this case the teeth have cusps rather than plates, and so that indicates a different diet for these animals. So this is an animal from the Ice Age or Pleistocene that went extinct in our region about 10,000 years ago. In fact, the mastodon is named from specimens that first came from Big Bone Lick. We also have material of mammoths, which were known from Big Bone Lick. Probably two mammoth species occur at the park. The woolly mammoth that most people are familiar with, the shaggy Ice Age elephant. And this, unlike the mastodon, this is a true elephant. Whereas mastodons you might think of more as a cousin to the elephant group. There are also probably Columbian mammoths at the park, a more southern species of mammoth that existed during the Pleistocene. So probably somewhat larger, less hair, more adapted to a southerly climate. This is a woolly mammoth tooth. You can see the grinding, the ridged plates, grinding surface. Mammoths were eating grasses, which are very hard fibrous tissue, plant tissue. Mastodons more likely eating spruce needles and aquatic plants and things like that. Big Bone Lick is famous for its Ice Age mammals, as I said. So we have mastodon, mammoth. There are extinct muskox, a woodland species of muskox, first found at the park before being found anywhere else. There's the living Arctic muskox is known from the park. That's of course still with us today in the Arctic regions, but was much farther south in its geographic range during the Ice Age as temperatures were much cooler. There's giant elk moose, giant ground sloth, things like this. So it's very, very famous, and many Pleistocene species were first discovered at Big Bone Lick, and the species are named from fossils collected there.
The Shawnee Indians were also found in this area. They relied heavily on the springs for salt and the attraction of animals for hunting.
One of the claims to fame of Big Bone Lick is, of course, it's the birthplace of American paleontology, but it also has some very early, wonderful archaeological artifacts as well. This is referred to as a Clovis point. And the Clovis points are about the earliest lithic artifacts that we have in North America. Now, there is some debate about whether there's pre-Clovis or not, but even pre-Clovis stuff probably doesn't go back very far. But these date to about 10,000 years ago or 11,000 years ago. These are people who would come over here from Siberia and other places in Eastern Asia. They probably were following this large megafauna. These points seem to be associated with those large animals. They were named for a site in Clovis, New Mexico, 120 years after they were found at Big Bone Lick. Now we have 3 of them at Big Bone Lick. So we have the very first Clovis points ever found in North America at Big Bone Lick, 120 years before they were named. They should actually be called Big Bone Lick points. And they were also excavated at the behest of a president of the United States, Thomas Jefferson. So there's great cachet on these artifacts, and they tell us an awful lot about what was going on.